And we are live. Hello, friend. How are you?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I
Good
am
morning.
all right. Um,
That was such a funny pause. It's like, I am
it's,
all right.
yeah, well, I
Sorry,
was
that had me thinking of
distracted by
PJ
the
Morton for a second. Like, PJ Morton started playing in my head just then. Okay.
gotcha. Your picture was a little blurry, so that's what was throwing me off a little bit.
Oh, sorry. You know what? I was adjusting my table here in my and my monitor where the camera is, and so it was probably just trying to focus. How you doing? Who are
Got
you? Who are you? Why you here? How you doing?
you know, the preliminaries of it all. So I am Alicia Holland. I am one half of the lawyer team at Dahlia Law Group. We are a legacy and estate planning firm based in Oakland, California, and welcome to the Legacy Livestream series. Who are
Yes.
you?
I am Jill Bates Moore. I am the other half of the lawyer team at Dahlia Law Group. I am uh, sorry, having trouble managing all of the windows that are open, that are open on my computer screen. Um, yeah, I'm really pleased to be here, and yeah, today feels. I don't know what today feels like. How are you doing?
It's a good question. So, in the answer of that, in the way that we do, we always start with just checking in of how we are doing in a particular day for the live stream series. And so I'm all right. I feel behind, even though I know I am not. I got distracted rocking out to my holiday music while I was getting ready and looked up and I was like, oh shucks, it's 12:28. I'm supposed to be like in my chair ready to go. And I'm over there and nothing is on or set up. I'm like, oh. So
Details.
I'm taking a minute to settle down from the, it's all right. Be cool, honey bunny. Like, we all right.
Funny. You're
That's how I am.
funny.
How are you?
I am. It is well with me. I am. I am still trying to figure out how time works because the fact that it is Wednesday, December 16th, is something that I only know because the calendar on my computer says so.
That part.
Time right now feels both very stretchy and also very compressed. So I don't know. But Shauna is here.
Hey,
Hi,
Shauna.
Shauna. How you doing? She says, hello, friends. Um, so yeah, I'm happy to be here and having this conversation today. I really look forward to our weekly live stream every Wednesday. For those of you who might be here who are new to us or new to the stream, whether you are live with us now or you catch this on a replay later, we are here every Wednesday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3:30 Eastern, and we talk the stuff of legacy. Hey, Naomi. Naomi's here. Um, yeah, so I look forward to this and I'm really looking forward to today. Today, our topic, what we're talking about is the legacy of your/our holiday traditions. The legacy of holiday traditions. So today is the last it is the last live stream of this season for us. Starting next week, we as a firm will be on break. And what that means for us is that there is no nothing. There is no working. There are no client responsibilities. There are no there. We are on break because everybody needs to go on break. What I saw somebody post a meme or something recently that said everything. works better if you power it down and turn it off for a second, including you. So,
Yeah, that
right,
part. It's like your granny says, go somewhere and lay down.
right.
Like
So,
if your granny was like mine, when the thunder and the lightning came, all the stuff got shut off.
right.
There was no talking on the phone, and so she would
Wait,
tell us, go somewhere and lay down.
that happened to your house too?
So
Okay,
yes.
yes, because my granny would be like, if you don't get off of that phone, don't you hear that thunder lightning?
Turn that TV
Turn the
off.
TV off.
Hang
Oh,
up
that's
that
funny.
phone. Turn that air conditioner off. Like, go somewhere and lay down.
That is funny. Yes. So yeah. So we're going on break, which means we will start a new season of the Legacy live stream in January. Can you believe that? It's yeah. It's
Lies you telling.
yeah. So one of the
Misleading the nice people.
right. So, one of the things we're going to be asking for your help with is to shoot us some ideas for what types of conversations um, we should be having on, or you would like to see us have, or you would like to participate in on the Legacy live stream in our next season. And legacy is, to us, it's a term that is broad and large and also very personal, right? Legacy is the stuff, the things, the stories, the artifacts, the memories, the all of it, right? The creativity, the everything that, and also the assets, right? Because that's part of it too. All of the stuff that exists only because you did. So we'll continue the legacy conversations next year. So today we get to close it out. Should we call this our season finale?
I think it is. I'm very excited by this concept of we have seasons.
I can't even.
So,
I can't even. That just came out of my mouth by accident because I know that's not on the outline. But yeah, but
ooh,
once I said
that
it, I
feels
went with it.
official.
Yeah, I'm glad you're okay with that. Thank you for that
That's
affirmation because I
exciting.
was like, yeah, when we hang up this live stream, she's probably going to be like, so, little off script, huh?
Oh,
Look
you
at
mean like every
right,
week?
look at you with the remix. You know what? You better keep my secrets, friend. Uh, So this week we're talking about the legacy of our and your holiday tradition. So talk back to us. Talk back to us for sure. But first, as we always do, or at least I hope we always do, let's ground the theme in the legacy concept. Why do we think that holiday traditions are a legacy issue? What say you?
I think it's what you literally just said. It's one of the things that exist because you were here. And so I was watching a movie because it's holiday season. So you know it was a
I know
holiday
how you are
movie.
about your holiday movies. Yes, ma'am.
But there was a toast in this particular movie, and I love it. Like as cheesy as the movies are, uh, the toast was a toast to who have passed, those who are present, and those who are yet on the way. As this family is gathering for their holiday, and I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
that. And so those holiday traditions, it gets to be the thread running through those who have passed, those who are currently present, and those who are on the way, so that across each of those, there is a bridge that ties them all together. And so that's why I think holiday traditions are a legacy issue.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That really is beautiful. And I could not agree more. They are the things that they are the ties that bind, right? Excuse me. The the ways that I'm thinking about people who have passed, after hearing you recite that toast. I'm thinking about people who have passed, and my and thinking about how we bring them into the the present day. I was thinking about some of the stories. My mom recently shared a picture of my great grandmother, one of my great grandmothers, who I had the privilege of knowing and getting to grow up with a bit before she died. And my sister, my youngest sister, well, my second youngest sister, never met her. And so, because my great grandmother passed away the same month that my sister was born. And so my sister gets to know my granny, like our Granny Scott, that's what we called her, through like these stories, right? And through some of the traditions over Thanksgiving. My mom was scared the mess out of me when she said that she almost dropped and broke the bowl. Now listen, the bowl is she was talking about the sweet potato pie bowl. And this is one of three bowls that belonged to my great grandmother Scott. And the blue one is the one that we mix the sweet potato pie mixture in. That it is what is done. It
It's
is
not going to
what
taste right if it comes out of some other receptacle.
it's what was always done. And so the sweet potato pie bowl, and I was like, Mama, like, I was like, do you need gloves? What is happening? Like, what, you cannot break that bowl. And she
I'm
was
coming to
like,
take custody of the
right?
bowl.
She was like, I know, right? I almost had a heart attack. So, but my sister has grown up with the sweet potato pie bowl her entire life, right? And in that way, she gets to be connected to Granny Scott too, even though she never met her. So, and it's sort of a long, winding answer to your question, but also a dovetail into um, into the next
See
question.
what
See
you
what I
did
did
there.
there? See what I did there? See what I did there? Thanks, Naomi. Naomi says she likes my new glasses.
Very
My
fancy
new
fun.
glasses. Thank you. I'm on an eyeglasses thing. Go with me. Join me. Join me on the journey. Um, and I do find myself a little distracted your by this glamorous windswept hair
Oh,
that
that's
you're working.
actually
It's
just my
very
ponytail holder
I
fell out.
can't. I can't. I cannot.
But I can't quite figure out like how to like keep the beginning of it but make it like sneaky. So this is what you get.
I
You
cannot.
knew who I was when you brought me here.
You
I don't
know,
know what to say.
I have no complaints. I have no words, but I also have no complaints. Aisha's here. Hey, Aisha. Aisha says she received more than a tongue lashing for breaking the chicken dish. Yeah, no, I get it. Wait, tell me more about the chicken dish. I want to know what is the history of
What kind of
the chicken
chicken?
dish. Yes, yes. Um, while she is doing that, do you wanna hit us with the first question?
I sure will. So, the way that we like to have these conversations is we have just a few questions to kind of think through. And we came up with the questions and have been noodling with them, but naturally don't have an answer yet. So, the first one is, what is your favorite holiday tradition?
Hmm. Okay. Do you need time to think about this one?
Yes,
Okay. I have mine in mind, so I'm gonna go. Okay.
go for it.
All right. So my favorite holiday tradition was a childhood tradition, and it was around Christmas. My mom is a Christmas person. I never really knew I never really knew whether we celebrated Christmas as a secular holiday or a religious holiday or what. I never really thought about it like that. Christmas was sacred because Christmas. And so and so my mom is the one who would get like these big enormous trees. How are we going to fit this big old tree in this tiny apartment, right? Like, or where, like we might have 8-foot ceilings and it's a 10-foot tree, and she's just convinced that this is just gonna work, okay? And it did. And we had Christmas tree duties, right? Because she would buy fresh trees, and we would go pick them out or whatever, and it was my job to make sure that the water level in the Christmas tree stand was right, and whatever the water conditioning or whatever was supposed to go in there, I had to do that. And I took that responsibility very seriously. And it was our tradition that excuse me, that on Christmas Eve we would get all the kids. So it was all the kids was me, because I was the only child in my house until my baby sister was born, when I was in middle school. And so it was me, and then it was all my cousins. I have an extensive cousin family. So my cousins were kind of like siblings to me. And so anyway, so all of the kids would get dressed in our pajamas pretty early in the day. Like, we would get dressed in our pajamas like right before or around dinner. And we would eat, and then my mom would pile us all in the car. And we would get in the car. We might have blankets, we might, whatever. We would all get in the car. We typically had on our pajamas, especially when we were really young. And we would drive around and look at Christmas lights. And my mom loved to drive, and still does. And so this was a soothing, sort of meditative thing for her as well. But we would drive around as soon as it got dark. We would drive around and look at the Christmas lights. And then we would come home and we would go to bed. All the kids were put to bed. And then my mom and my aunts would go and start cooking. They would finish wrapping presents. I'm not sure about the concept of a Santa. I don't know. But anyway, then they would wake us up at midnight. They would come in. It would be lots of celebration and noise and all of this. They would wake us up at midnight, and we would open Christmas presents at midnight on Christmas Eve. And we would get to play with our presents for a while, and then we would go back to sleep. Mostly, I think as an adult, I think it was mostly so they could get some sleep, frankly. Yeah. But yeah, that was our tradition. On Christmas Eve, we would get in our pajamas and stuff early, and as soon as it got dark, as soon as it turned dark, we would go and drive around and look at Christmas lights, come home and go to sleep and get ready to open our presents at midnight. We have. Let's see. We have quite a few comments here. Yay. So, hold on one second. Lisa's here. She's saying hello. Hey, Lisa. Aisha is telling us about the chicken dish. So, do you want to tell us your favorite tradition, or you want the chicken dish? Okay, let's talk about the chicken dish. Okay. Aisha says the chicken dish was her mother's favorite dish to bake chicken in. Aisha broke the chicken dish in a fit of rage at her siblings. She says, I still don't remember what they did to piss me off, and how I figured that breaking something of my mother's was supposed to hurt them, but I kicked it off the table at 5 years old.
You've been feisty for a while then.
Oh, look, Gangsta Boogie. Aisha, look, Gangsta Boogie. She says my mom mourned that dish because it was her favorite baking dish. Oh, friend. I mean, wow. Talk about set it off. It's like y'all are gonna get this rage here. This baby rage, y'all are getting this baby rage on today.
I had enough strength to flip the table, it would go. But since I don't have that, the dish is gonna get it.
Oh, friend. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, goodness. I hope, Aisha, I hope that you are tickled by this now as an adult and that our laughter is not offending you because I am so tickled at the image of little 5-year-old Aisha setting it off and having the chicken dish go down. Like, wow.
I also hope your mama is tickled by this by now.
I don't hold out much hope for that. I
I don't know
don't.
if anybody else did that, but that's what I used to do. It'd be like I'd wait for a long time until I was reasonably certain that I probably couldn't get in trouble for a thing.
Mhm.
And then I would ask my mom, like, so what would you do or say if somebody did? And then give the scenario. Like, but what if you didn't know about it when it happened?
Wow. And you thought that would work?
It did usually.
That's because your mom was a saint, and she didn't
Well, I
want
mean,
it. She
that's
didn't want to
probably
embarrass you. Like she didn't want to crush your little budding spirit. That's yeah.
that might be true, but it's like, but I mean, if it happened and you didn't really know about it and you couldn't even tell that it happened, then is there really any reason to bother with somebody being in trouble about it at this point?
Oh, huh. Okay.
I was a lawyer before I was a lawyer. I
You
was my very first client.
you were a recipient of favor and grace from a saintly mother at a young age. Your mama loved you. 100%. Aisha says I'm true. Aisha says she is truly tickled now, but she knows that her mom will remember that dish. So I don't think Aisha's gonna be bringing that up.
Don't bring it
I
up
don't
then.
think. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear.
If you introduce her to this series, tell her to skip this episode.
Fast
It's
forward.
fine.
Fast forward. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. So, what is your favorite holiday tradition?
My favorite tradition, that one is tricky to think, like to try to bring up one.
Okay.
And so I think the one that comes to mind, kind of the biggest right now, is because it's one that I still get to do. So my parents no longer live in the place where I grew up in childhood. And so one of the things that is a tradition, and I'm looking to the side because I can see it in my house. It's one of my decorations that I use now. And it's at one point in, I don't even remember when, frankly, call it late 80s, early 90s ish, there were these little miniature structures, and they were released in a couple of different department stores. And they're like, it's like a whole little town, a little village. And so there's like the governor's mansion and the doctor's house and the little courthouse and the newspaper and the brewery and all these things. And the little town is called Liberty Falls. But the deal was they got released in department stores. So think kind of like how Hallmark does their keepsake ornaments and they
Mm-hmm.
become collectibles. That's kind of the concept of these little village houses. And so it would be for like about I think it was an 8 to 10 week period. And they would start like right around Halloween up until Christmas. And each week they would release a new little village. And the little things are tiny. They're only about this big. And so you would have to go to the store every week to get whatever one was released in that week because there were limited edition ones.
Got
And they
it.
weren't particularly expensive. I think the things cost like $5, maybe $10. But obviously the idea was, well, since you're in the store, you're
Right.
likely to get others.
Right.
So, but anyhow, my mom liked these little houses and started collecting them and did over several years, such that it is an entire little village. And then there were certain ones where this was in the era where you had mail-in rebates for things. And so you could send your little either receipt or UPC codes where when you bought like a certain number in a particular year, then you got a special limited edition piece that wasn't available in the store. So there's like
Gotcha.
a little wishing well and a little clock tower and stuff like that. And so when I fast forward to when I first graduated from law school and was living in my first little place, and it was tiny, and I didn't have space for a Christmas tree. And um, little Alicia fact, so I come from a family of insurance people, so I have never had a live Christmas tree in my life because my parents didn't do those. We always had our artificial tree. And so even like I know some people will get the tiny real trees, and I'm like, I don't know how to buy a Christmas tree or how to care for one or what to do with it. And so in my tiny little place, I was like, the village houses would be a perfect way to decorate. And so I talked my dad into letting me have the village houses because he likes them, but he's like, oh, it's too much trouble to put them away because they are still in their original little individual boxes that tell you what is inside each one. And so my favorite holiday tradition now is getting to set up the little village as for a part of Christmas. So to bring out like all the little boxes and decide how I want to arrange my little town and putting my mom got little people and cars and little lights like other little miniature figures to zhuzh up the village. And then there's some snow if I decide to put the snow out in a particular year for the little village. And so it's a whole thing because it's not like just, oh, let's just put them out. It's like arranging them. Like you can't have the Undertaker next to the doctor's house. That don't work. So we've got to space out our little village to make it look villagey. There actually is an Undertaker as one of the things. It's like the lumberyard and Undertaker.
It's the urban planning for me. It's the whole like city plan.
It's a whole process.
Jeez
And
Louise.
so getting to decorate and put out the little village is one of my favorite traditions because it really is like a past, present, and connecting to those who are not yet here piece of tradition.
I love that. I absolutely love it. And I love that you get to do it every year. And I love that it is I love the way that your mom was so intentional about collecting all of those pieces. And I love the fact that every single one of these things is something that her hands touched.
Mhm.
Like that the thing that you're doing in setting them out and pulling them out of their, and pulling them out of their protective cases and their descriptive boxes and deciding what goes where, that's something that she did with her
Mhm.
actual hands. Like something about that just feels like that physical thing feels very it just feels very sweet to me. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so wait a minute. Lisa and Aisha are acting up in these comments. What is going on here, friends? So,
Somehow I am not surprised.
right. So Lisa says, "Oh, they're talking about the breaking the dishes."
The dish.
So
Yeah.
Lisa says when she was about 5, they were walking to the car to go somewhere. Her mom handed her a glass and said, "Lisa, go throw this in the house." Lisa walked to the front door, opened it, and tossed the glass inside.
You know where this is going. Like, it, I did what you told me to do.
Aisha says, "Yeah, that's how we learn that language is arbitrary." And Lisa is like, "Yes." She says, "I was a very literal child. I did not get in trouble because I was doing exactly what I was told to do."
That sounds like one of those where your mom had to try to keep a straight face because she's like annoyed because this is also now a thing that I'm gonna have to go clean
Right.
up. But be like, but I mean, she did do
She did,
exactly
yeah.
what I said.
She did what
So
I said too. That is so
what you gonna
funny.
do?
Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
Oh, Lisa also says that she really does like those sleepy little village towns. Like you were sharing. She says that she and her husband bought bought a bunch of those pieces or similar pieces when they were newly married. She said they have quite a few of them, but they're buried in the closet. You know what? Is this the year to pull them out?
Bring it out.
Friend, is this the year to pull them out? Oh, she also says that she loves arranging on the fake snow. Maybe a train
Yeah.
set and a lighthouse. Like, funny,
Yeah. One
funny,
of my
funny.
friends gave me an idea. So if I get a chance over break, I will institute it, and then it will be one that can continue on to have. Because one of the things with the fake snow is it can be kind of messy because there's like the batting kind of fake snow.
Hmm.
And so, because these are little ceramic structures, they won't sit correctly on there. They're
Okay.
too unstable if you do that. And so then there's the little flaky snow that's like basically it's like plastic, but you walk by, the heater blows funny, and so the stuff just gets everywhere
Hmm.
and it becomes a mess. And so one of my friends gave me an idea of to paint something that is like a snowy ground cover sort of a thing.
Okay.
That thing goes underneath it. So think like cardboard box
Okay.
with like the painted landscape underneath it that can slide underneath to give the snow effect. And I'm like, yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
So
Yeah, I dig
that's on
it.
my list to maybe try to do over break is to paint a little thing and then it'll just fold up so that it'll be there for next year.
Nice. Nice. I like this. I am going to advocate for an addition of glitter, as you knew that I would.
Yes.
Um, so, Aisha is Aisha is saying that she doesn't celebrate Christmas anymore in any real sense, but growing up, her favorite thing was her Christmas tree and the silver ball that made, she says it made like a birdie chirping noise. And she also thinks that she killed that. Um, that she broke it when she got older because she wanted to know if there was a bird in there. So listen, Aisha, I'm picking up on a theme, love. You hard on stuff. You are hard on stuff. Oh goodness. That's funny. And Lisa is saying no. She is not. They are not bringing back the village this year
Oh,
because she says she really loves it. She really loves decorating. She really loves the Christmas stuff. But when it comes time to clean up in January, where is everybody? I can understand that. I can understand that. And she also loves your idea to make a ground cover, a snowy ground cover for the village to sit on. To sit on the painted snowscape. And she's
yes. Ooh,
asking that you please do that.
painted snowscape. I dig it.
Please do that.
Makes it sound super fancy.
Okay. And Lisa is correcting me that Aisha is not hard on stuff. How come I can't? There we go. She says Aisha is not hard on stuff. Aisha is curious. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm thinking of it in the tradition since we're talking about holiday traditions. One of the other holidays that comes around this year is New Year's. And that in some traditions, when we start a new thing, we break a something. So, like at a Jewish wedding, when there's the stomping of the glass. So maybe that's the breaking of the silver ball is heading into the new year. So, Aisha, maybe you should get a new little silver ornament of some kind to break it as a we're smashing into the new year.
Mm-mm. I'm not co-signing this.
Okay.
I'm not co-signing this. Mm-mm. Nothing about that. I'm not co-signing that. I'm not with it.
All right, so on to our next question.
Okay. What was our next question?
So our next one is there something that's newer in your world that you're doing that over the last however long that you're making a tradition. And this is the one that I jokingly called, is there a first annual tradition that you've got?
We're the first annual. Yes. I love it. Do you want to go first on this one? I think I need a moment to think about this one.
Sure, I can. Mine is one we talked about it in an earlier episode, but I don't remember why we talked about it,
Okay.
frankly. But one that is a newer thing for me that I've done over the last several years that it's just kind of become a thing now is there are a couple of books that I like to read
Mm.
during this season. And so just getting to sit down with them. So one of them, it's a series of short stories. And so my rule is that I get to start it wherever I want to. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to start in the beginning and to read it as long as I feel like. So if I finish it in a particular year, fine. If I read a couple of the short stories, fine. But just like revisiting those stories is one that's kind of a newer tradition. And another one is on the years that I decide to send out cards, sitting down and doing my little cards on Christmas Eve with my little cozy beverage and some movie on or something or other. And just that way it gets to be a way of connecting with my people that I would want to send greetings to when I can't necessarily be with them because they live other places or people have other stuff going on, things like that.
Got it. Got it. That isn't so. So your reading of the books, it sounds like that's something that's a practice of yours that has been traditional over the years. What's landing on you as new, as sort of a new integration this year?
Well, this year there was a book that I read for the first time last year
Mm-hmm.
and added it to the list.
Gotcha.
So now it gets to be a first annual because it's made it to annual status. And I think of it as a newer tradition
Mm-hmm.
because this is a book that I remember first reading
Mm-hmm.
as a teenager at some point because this is an author that I used to like as a teenager.
Gotcha.
So I know it's from way back, and at some point in the last 10-ish, less than 10, but 5 to 10-ish years, like I caught the book once more, and then more recently I was like, I would like to read that book because I remember it being holiday themed stories. And so let me revisit that. And so just coming back to it year over year and saying, "Oh, let me read my little holiday book this year."
I love
Like
it.
making that a tradition is a newer thing that's been within the last, like, I'll call it 5 years.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I really like that. I really like that. That's so sweet. Um, Shauna has popped on and she says that her grandmother would always make each grandchild a bag at each Christmas. These were brown paper bags, and the bag would always contain an orange, candy cane, some walnuts, and hard candy.
Oh, I love that.
I love that too. That just
I'm
like I'm thinking about you. And yeah, and
yes.
yeah, I love oh wait, she says her uncle took over making the bags and will still make them for all the grandchildren
I love it. I'm
and their
curious,
children. I
Shauna,
love
if
that.
your grandmother grew up in a Baptist church. And so I don't know if you all know the story of that, but that used to be a thing that I've heard talked about in different circles of my family that grew up in different places. That in Baptist churches, when they would do their Christmas program, that would be a gift that they would give to the children in at the end of the little Christmas program. And so that was something that they used to do in the church that I grew up in was you would get usually an orange and an apple and some little nuts and little hard candies, and that would be your little present going home at the end of whatever the Christmas program service was. And I've heard my aunts talk about that from their childhood that they used to look forward to getting their little bags, and frankly that was the only reason that they were cooperative with saying their little Christmas speeches the Christmas program because they knew they were going to get the little bag.
Wow.
So
Wow.
listen,
Listen,
gotta
I'll
do what
bribe a kid. Look, no judgment. No judgment. I'll bribe a kid. I am not above it. Um, Shauna says since several of oh I love this. She says since several of her family members have moved out of town, you have to call ahead now. If you're visiting for Christmas, if you're going to be in town, you can call ahead, and they'll make sure that her uncle will make sure that a bag gets made for
you
you.
gotta make your bag reservation.
So, yes, I don't
That's so
know.
sweet.
It is darling. I love that. Um, I don't know about that as a Baptist church tradition because I didn't grow up in the church, um, but I do remember my husband saying at one point that his grandfather, who was a sharecropper, had the gift, the kid, and they had several children. His dad has several siblings. Um, that their Christmas gifts would be like an orange and a peppermint, and that's what all of the kids got um, for Christmas. And I remember one year, our church, as adults, our community church, we we went uh, to prepare food and serve food for some folks who uh, who didn't have enough to eat over the holidays, and my husband was stationed at the section where at the end where the gift was this orange and peppermint. And he said, he was like, this just feels full circle. So yes, I do think that there is a broader traditional element to what you're saying, and something about that feels really comforting to me too. So
Mhm. Like I love the legacy of that
mm-hmm,
it's got legs so long that we don't even know where it began,
mm-hmm,
but to know that like your husband's grandfather grew
mm-hmm,
up in a place that I'm sure is different from where my grandparents grew up, which
mm-hmm.
I'm sure is different from where Shauna's grandparents
Yep,
grew up. But the thread that this continues, that everybody has some element of I have heard about
yep,
this, the orange and the nuts and the brown paper bag,
right,
like
and the
the
peppermint.
whole thing.
Yeah,
And then the connecting that Shauna's uncle still does that. So the new generation where they're like, why do we get this, or a thing to look forward to,
mm-hmm.
and getting to connect that back. Oh, I love that.
I love that. Yes, absolutely,
Down
absolutely.
to my toes.
All right.
Oh, speaking of,
Oh,
I got another favorite holiday tradition. I just thought of another
lay
one,
it on us. Lay it on us.
which is that to my toes is what reminded me of it. Because since we were talking about holiday traditions
This is a
today,
family
I
show,
had to
friend. This
wear.
is a family show.
It's family. It's
Okay.
totally family.
Okay.
It's that I had to wear my one of my Christmas socks
Oh,
today.
okay. All right.
So
I
I got
didn't know
my
where this was
Christmas
going.
socks.
I didn't know where this was going. I was trying to hold the family boundary. Cuss words are fine, but you know, don't make it awkward.
No, but it's a tradition because literally these socks are ones that my mother bought for me when I was a teenager. I know this because this particular pair is cows with jingle bells in like a field of holly. And I was into cows when I was a teenager because we moved and I got to decorate my room. And that was a point where black and white and cow themed things were very in. Listen, it was Kansas. So
Oh,
come
like
as
the Gateway computer. You remember the Gateway computer boxes where
exactly.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm
Exactly.
tracking. I'm tracking.
Yeah. So Kansas, the land of sunflowers and black and white and cows and bright, vivid things. And so when we moved, I decorated my room with a cow theme. And so it was black and white and red.
Mm-hmm.
And she found these socks for me that were little Christmas cows with jingle bells. And so I am wearing one of my pairs of cow jingle bell socks because there are multiples. Because
I
they come in different colors, but
I love
because
it.
they're holiday socks, they last forever because you only wear them a few times a year. And so, one of my favorite holiday traditions is around this time, I have to make sure to always wear my holiday socks.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
See, totally family friendly.
Well, now I want to see the socks, but show me later. Show me later. Okay.
Put it on my OnlyFans page. Is that too far? You know, I just learned about this and I don't fully understand it, so I might have said something which is harkening back to when my mother told me not to say things if I don't know what they mean. Turns out that lesson keeps giving.
All I have for you at this point is awkward babble or changing the topic.
Okay.
Okay.
We have another question. Oh, wait. Before we go to another question, you have not given us your first annual tradition. Is there another caller on the line?
Oh, goodness. Okay. I will say this. I don't.
Producers might cancel us in our season break. Like, y'all have gone off the rails one too many times.
Speaking of off the rails. Okay, I know that we are gonna come back to the topic, but do you watch The Real Housewives of Potomac? Listen, speaking of off the rails, apparently something went majorly wrong or right or whatever. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I know when I was scanning through the news headlines, I was like, what is a reality TV show like Pure Fluff Entertainment show doing in my actual news in my actual news feed? Apparently something went down. So if anybody knows what it is, tell us offline and tell us if we should watch it. Okay. Shauna says that
I am people.
Huh?
I said I am people.
Yes, exactly. Shauna says that they would also always listen to the Jackson 5 Christmas album, the actual vinyl. Yes. Yeah. Yes. You know what? For us too, the Charlie Brown Christmas album. I still listen to that. And we do that while we are cooking and decorating. So, okay, my new-ish tradition. So, I don't know if I can claim this as a tradition because it's been a little catch as catch can. And so maybe that's part of the tradition. I started a while ago off and on baking cookies for my family. And I would just put out a call on Facebook to say I'm making the cookies this year. And so make sure I have your address. And people would just send me their addresses. And for as many addresses as I got, I would make the cookies and send them with a Christmas card. And it started as such a, like, it was almost an offhanded thing. My mom said, it was either my mom or my aunt said that they had a taste for, and you know how this goes. You're from the Midwest, so you know how this goes. I had a taste for something, and it happened to be some cookies. And so I made them some cookies. And sent them. Well, somebody found out. Well, actually, the first thing that happened was whoever I made the cookies for, I don't remember if it was my mom first or my aunt first, but I know that these two sisters, if I make something for one of them and the other one doesn't get it, especially because they like different types of cookies, it would be, as my grandmother says, hell to tell the captain about it. So So, since we're talking about
Less work to
traditions,
make the cookies than to
just
explain
just
yourself.
make the cookies, friend. Just make the cookies. And so then it just kind of became a thing. So auntie got cookies, mom got cookies, and of course my sister's like, well, where are my cookies? And I'm like, that's fair. So yeah, I have been threatening to make that a tradition. So maybe that'll happen. Who
Love it.
knows? Maybe that'll happen. Either that or um, making pajamas, and that might become a thing as well. So I'm on the fence. There's a
All
couple of things.
right.
The pajamas would be for
Multiple first annuals.
yeah, the pajamas would be for my husband and me. I'm not making pajamas for everybody in the family. I don't I just that would stress me
That's
out so much.
understandable.
Yeah. But
That is
yeah,
understandable.
but cookies are pretty straightforward. So,
Can pull that off.
yeah, I think we can pull that off. Anyway,
I love it.
we'll see. Check with me in season 2 to see
Stay
see
tuned.
how it went. Stay tuned for the dramatic conclusion of
In the last season, here's a recap.
were there cookies? Or
The
wait, should we call
cliffhanger.
it cookies or no?
Yeah. It's a cliffhanger season finale.
Right.
We're going Grey's Anatomy style.
Oh goodness, that is so funny. Well, we're not quite out of time. Yeah, we got a little bit of time. Look at us. It's effective time
Hey,
management.
love it.
For once.
You want to have a last question? I got one more.
Do you? Okay. All right.
Yeah. It is, are there any, it's appropriate for this particular season finale.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any COVID era, in the COVID era, I should say, are there any traditions that you're working to still access the holiday that you're having to do a little bit different, but you want to make sure to do so that the holiday still feels like a holiday?
Mm. Mm. I'm thinking about that, and as I'm thinking about it, Lisa, uh, Lisa says she loves the Vince Guaraldi Charlie Brown Christmas, Charlie Brown Christmas album, CD, MP3, all of it. I love it.
The Charlie Brown Spotify channel.
Well, yeah. Well, and of course, I mean, I know we haven't talked about this because sort of what is understood need not be discussed, but I have to have my Merry Christmas from the Temptations, right? I have
Uh,
to, I have to have that. It's almost like it's not even Christmas until I hear in my mind. Like that it has to be
Merry
that.
Christmas.
So um so anyway, uh okay, is there anything COVID era specific that I am planning or doing to make the holidays feel like the holidays, even if I have to do it a bit differently? um do you have an answer to this one while I'm thinking, or are you still thinking as well?
The one that comes to mind, like two kind of ideas come to mind for me
Okay.
most is one was making sure that I put out my holiday decorations probably even earlier than I normally do and adding to it and more sparkle and making sure I turn the lights on every night. Um, and what that's about is normally I'm like, if I get them out, I get them out. And it's trying to fit it in with work and everything else. And then the
Mm-hmm.
turning the lights on is usually when I come home at night, come in from the office, and it'd be like, well, if I'm going to be up for a while, then I'll go ahead and turn the little lights on, that sort of thing. And so now I'm like looking, I'm like, ooh, is it dark? Like, should I leave them on during the day since I'm here all the time? And so making sure, like, I want to see the sparkle because it makes me happy. And what I am connecting to is some of that is normally you get to see some of the lights when you're just out and about. and you're driving around and seeing people's lights when you're in the car. But when you're not really in the car as much, you don't get to see that. And so turning my own lights on and getting to see the sparkle that comes from those and the glittery ornaments and all, to be able to connect to like that holiday season and the lights and what I enjoy about that.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one is making sure to turn the music on in my house with the holiday music. Because normally during this time of year, I'm in the car. And so when I'm in the car, instead of listening to podcasts, I would always be listening to holiday music.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'm not really in the car much. And so being like, ooh, while I'm taking my shower or doing whatever, like let's turn on some holiday music and getting that taste of the holiday music that's part of the season.
Got it. Got it. I love those. Those. I like that idea of just sort of intentionally claiming the your holiday artifacts, like, and and just being really intentional about those things and bringing some of the practices that you would do, that you would just naturally sort of fall into outside of the house, just bringing those inside of the house in an intentional way. I like that. For me, I think that I am I think I just came to it actually. I think that I am going to take some inspiration from one of our sewing friends, Nikki, who is an amazing sewing teacher. She has a business called Sewing My Style, where she teaches all manner of fabulous sewing classes. And for her birthday this year, she popped on she scheduled a day long Zoom. I think she did it on Zoom, and she was just on there,
Mm-hmm.
just kind of sewing and hanging out most of the day. And she invited people to drop in to celebrate with her on her birthday. I think she did some giveaways, and she gave people
Mm-hmm.
gifts, and that sort of thing. And so I think I might take a little bit of inspiration from that and just set up a Zoom room for a particular duration of time and invite my family to just sort of pop in, right? In the way that we would sort of mimicking maybe the way that we would pop in on each other on Christmas. Because you get up and you get dressed and do your breakfast and all of that stuff, and then you just end up making a tour of people's houses. And as children, we loved that because everywhere we went, there's presents. But
And new food.
right, so well, that depends on who house you went to, because
That's fair.
all food is not created equal. So, but yeah, I think I might. That's percolating. That's percolating now. So I
Oh,
think I might do that. Yeah, I'm actually, yeah, feeling a little inspired by that now. So I have to
a
tell Nikki
first
thank you.
annual open house.
Yeah, just sort of pop in. Like no requirements, no, anything like that. Like the room is open. Just pop in and say hi. Just pop in and say hi, and we get
Hey.
and we get to say Merry Christmas to each other. Just about everybody in my family celebrates Christmas in some way, and so and even if they don't, even the ones who don't begrudge it to anybody else who does. So that's what I'm thinking.
I
Thank you
like
for
it.
that question. I know when we came up with that, I think I'm the one who came up with the question and didn't have an answer for it. So
Answer
it's like
not
it's
required
like
just
I'm
because you
struggling.
asked.
I'm struggling. Um,
Think you need a new Christmas sweater or outfit or something because that was part of the tour. Like, I don't know if you did that, but whenever you got new clothes for Christmas and the first time you going out the house, like, I want to wear one of my new things.
I have to
So,
tell you, whenever I got new clothes, period, I wanted to wear them. Whether it was Christmas,
exactly.
birthday, Tuesday,
Like your first day of
yeah,
school clothes,
yeah,
whatever. So, Yeah,
Yes.
like you gotta show off your new outfit. You can have
Yes.
a holiday open house runway.
Maybe so. Maybe so. Oh, Lisa is saying that you introduced her to PJ Morton's Christmas album last year, and now that is a tradition for her. That is a good album. That is a good album. He's good. So,
And there's a deluxe edition that came out this year with some new stuff to it.
oh, okay. Okay. I don't know about that. I'll have to look into it. All right. Well, you all, we are just at time. So, but we do have time. So, if there are any other traditions that you're thinking about that you want to share with us, please do. You can share them here. If you don't get a chance to share them here, like I said, because we are approaching our lunch hour, share them with us on Instagram. Even though we are going to be on break, we might pop in on the Instagram. Social media feels like a break time thing to do. So, so share with us your traditions, whether they be old or new, and yeah, let's let us in your tradition business.
Yeah,
Because I'm
well, it
really
is a
curious.
legacy, so keep it going.
Yeah,
And while
absolutely.
you're there, if you have other topics that you want us to talk about, drop those in there too. I know we
Hmm.
said that at the beginning, but
Yep.
just as a reminder, if there are ideas or topics that you would like to have some discussion around in the legacy sphere, send it our way. Because I bet you didn't think a legacy conversation around holiday traditions was going to be a thing. And
Absolutely.
here we are,
Absolutely. You
broken dishes and all.
broken dishes and all. You can reach us at Dahlia Law Group in all of the places. DAHLIA Law Group. That's us on Instagram. That is us on the web. That's our website. That's our email, dlg at dahlialawgroup.com. So yeah, reach out. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful holiday season. Thank you for rolling with us this year. This whole live stream experiment has been more enriching and fulfilling for me than I could have anticipated. I don't know. I think Alicia, you would agree with that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
look forward to these
yeah,
conversations. It's awesome.
absolutely. And yeah, happy holidays and happy New Year.
Please stay safe.
Indeed. Wear your mask, please. Please. Bye, y'all.